From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's Tuesday, November 17th, and right now on Good Morning Indiana. Coronavirus cases in Indiana continue to surge.
There are some people in our state who are making the wrong choice.
As cases and hospitalizations rise, why a COVID-19 data expert is calling the numbers, quote, frightening.
And so being first in the state for being bad, we're now 29. Still not good, but we're making progress in the right direction.
Connorsville leaders say that they're working to get COVID-19 numbers under control. What residents need to do to make that happen. Plus, the pandemic is forcing a number of businesses to close up shop. This morning, we introduce you to one new business and show you how they are thriving.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday. It is great to be back with my morning family. I have to admit, Lauren and Todd, it was very difficult this morning to wake up, even though I'm working from home. I think it's even harder when you work from home because you want to stay in bed just a little bit longer. But nonetheless, it is great to see both of you on this Tuesday.
Well, it's great to see you as well, Raphael. And luckily, you don't have to step outside because it's a little bit chilly out there. Todd, what can folks expect today?
Yeah, you know, I definitely had the heat seaters on my drive into work here this morning, Lauren, with temperatures that were in the 30s. And the wind, I think, is what gets you more than anything, kind of cuts through you. And it's making these temperatures feel even a little bit cooler. Actual temperatures currently sitting in the 30s now in all locations, 35 in Indy with a wind chill that's in the 20s. And our wind speeds here, a lot of them dropped off, 22 miles per hour there in Greencastle. But you notice the color contours here where we're picking up some winds, especially here in eastern and southeastern portions of central Indiana. Probably still dealing with those 25 mile per hour wind gusts here this morning. We just missed out, thankfully, on some snow showers that just clipped the Fort Wayne area. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover to the north compared to southern locations. If you're seeing the cloud cover this morning, it'll move out very, very quickly, and we will have a nice bright and sunny day for us. That's the good news. Not a cloud in the sky for most of the day. The problem is that wind direction. It's northwesterly, and that's going to keep the temperatures here in the 30s throughout the morning hours. Then high temperatures today, Lauren, only slowly climb up into the low 40s.
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. As you're heading in and out of the downtown area, this is I-65 near West Street and MLK. Traffic here is moving along up to speed, starting to pick up a little bit this morning. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any trouble spots you need to avoid. Raphael?
Lauren, we want to begin this morning with the coronavirus and its impact on our state. Here's the latest information we have into the WRTV newsroom. State health officials report more than 5,200 new coronavirus cases. Since March, more than 257,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. Health officials also report 26 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Since the pandemic began, nearly 4,700 Hoosiers have died with the virus. As the number of coronavirus cases continues to rise, we are keeping a close eye on our hospital resources. As of this morning, more than 2,700 people across the state are hospitalized with a COVID diagnosis or suspected diagnosis. Currently, just over 26% of ICU beds are available statewide, and 75% of the state's ventilators are still available for use across Indiana.
And at 6:03, a COVID-19 data expert calls Indiana's latest case and hospitalization numbers, quote, frightening. Dr. Brian Dixon is the Director of Public Health Informatics at the Regenstrief Institute here in Indianapolis, which helps to advise state health officials.
This increase, this trend in new cases really began back in late September and have just carried through till now. So we've seen no signs of decline over the last several weeks. And Indiana, along with other states in the Midwest and of course the US as a whole, is on what many are calling an exponential growth path, which means if we don't act, then we will continue to see numbers go even higher.
Dr. Dixon is also a professor with the IU Fairbanks School of Public Health. He says the increase in cases is not a result of increased testing, but rather COVID-19 is rapidly spreading throughout our community. Dixon says if you take a group of 10 people, up to 2 of them likely have the virus or have already had it.
We're seeing positivity well over 10%, and we're seeing positivity increase about 1% every few days. And that means that there's a lot more cases out in the community, and there's a high level of community spread happening and it's happening in almost every county of the state. So this tells us that the virus is just sort of running rampant through the population.
Dr. Dixon says that state leaders need to consider imposing restrictions to make an impact on rising cases and hospitalizations. He recommends families limit their holiday gatherings to small groups or just immediate family.
This morning, encouraging news in the search for a coronavirus vaccine. Moderna says its vaccine is 94.5% effective. The company plans to seek FDA authorization for the immunization after more safety data is gathered later this month. Of the 15,000 participants who received their vaccine, only 5 contracted coronavirus and none became seriously ill. It is the second vaccine in our country to have a high success rate. The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says COVID-19 vaccinations could start as soon as mid-December.
At 6:05 this morning, Connorsville is the home to one of the hardest hit cities in the state when it comes to the coronavirus. It's in Fayette County, which is in the red currently on the state's color-coded COVID map, the highest risk category. Some residents tell WRTV that few people in the city wear masks or follow CDC guidelines.
You can go to our Walmart and no one's wearing masks, or, it's like, and I wear it because I feel like other people matter, and I wear it to protect other people because I may have it and not know it, and you just should care about each other and take care of your neighbors, and this is just an easy way to do it.
Connorsville Mayor Chad Frank says the city is making progress, but there's still work to be done. He's focused on educating the public.
We are constantly asking people, please wear your mask, follow all the CDC guidelines, not just mask wearing. Our numbers did go down. Our positivity rate went from 25 to 12.5%, according to Dr. White. I haven't seen the actual numbers yet. And instead of being first in the state for being bad, we're now 29th. Still not good, but we're making progress in the right direction.
Mayor Frank released a statement over the summer that might have led people to think that the state mask mandate is a choice. He tells WRTV that that was not his intent.
So, Lauren, as many businesses and restaurants are closing their doors because of the pandemic, a new restaurant in Marion County is surviving and thriving. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson is live this morning to explain how it's also taking some people down memory lane. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So we're here outside of Tam's Cafe. They opened in August, and they're just off Oaklandon Road in Marion County. But as you can see, this now cafe was once a home. And so we talked to Bonnie Reynolds, and she tells us she lived here more than 50 years ago. So we met Bonnie in what was once her spare room, and she tells me she got married in the church across the street in 1963. And while she lived here, her and her friends considered it the Grand Central Station of Oaklandon Road. Always the place to hang out. Now, Tammy Cunningham is the owner of Tam's Cafe, and she's hoping this will be the next hangout spot to be in this house's history.
It was just very, very neat to walk into it and have not been here since that time. And it really looks the same. They've painted and done a few changes, but it just brought back a lot of good old memories.
So Reynolds brought old photos of her former home to show Cunningham, and Cunningham says the goal of this quaint restaurant is to feel like you are having a comfortable home-cooked meal at your aunt's house. Now, Cunningham says since they opened in August, business has been thriving, but she says they're preparing for another possible shutdown. She says they've already started doing online orders so people can come and pick up. She says that way they can continue to make some money if there is another shutdown. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. Lawmakers are preparing to meet for the start of the 2021 legislative session. But before they do, teachers are working to send them a message. On Monday, the state's largest teachers union held a press conference asking lawmakers to uphold the governor's promise not to reduce funding for public K-12 schools. They're also expressing their concerns over things like working conditions and compensation. They discussed topics at last year's Red for Ed demonstration outside of the State House. This morning, some say with the pandemic, the challenges teachers face are greater than ever before.
We've doubled and tripled the workload given to our educators, and we've given our teachers this impossible choice between, work outside of school for free or fail our students.
We are overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, questioned, and oftentimes blamed for things that are simply out of our control.
Well, members of the State Teacher Association want to see things like a starting salary of at least $40,000 for teachers and restored bargaining rights on workload issues like hours, prep time, and class size.
So Indiana state lawmakers heading back to the State House today for Organization Day. Straight ahead, why the usually ceremonial event might have more action today than in years past. But first, let's check your morning weather outlook with our own Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
And Raphael, good morning. Couple chilly days for us today and tomorrow, but then temperatures get well above normal as we push towards Thursday, Friday, and the weekend, which is always good news when we have nice weather for the weekend. We'll break it all down for you and talk about the next chance of rain as well coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. It is 6:13 on your Tuesday. Raphael, Indiana state lawmakers will head back to the State House today for the first time since the pandemic began.
Yeah, today is known as Organization Day at the State House, and their lawmakers will find a long list of people asking for, of course, new state laws and new state programs. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce announced on Monday its legislative priorities for the 2021 session. They include several pandemic-related issues like legal liability protections for Hoosier businesses against COVID-related lawsuits, increasing incentives for attracting remote workers, expanding broadband access across the state, and improving digital economies, as well as establishing a work share program.
WorkShare would give Indiana employers another tool in their toolbox to deal with and address downturns in the economy, such as the pandemic-induced recession that we've been going through currently. If we'd been a WorkShare state, we wouldn't have had as big a draw on our unemployment trust fund, and we wouldn't be borrowing as much money from the federal government as we are currently, as our UI trust fund has been totally depleted between the.
Another top agenda item for lawmakers addressing the turmoil that schools are facing because of the pandemic. Republican House Speaker Todd Houston said helping students catch up will be a priority during the session that starts in January.
At 6:14, new numbers this morning show 51 people were killed last year in incidents motivated by hate. The FBI reports hate crime reporting in the U.S. surged in 2019 to the highest level in more than a decade. About 7,300 criminal hate crime incidents were reported to the FBI in 2019, nearly 200 more than the year before. The report shows the majority of victims were targeted because of their race, and of those, most were African Americans.
As many Hoosiers continue to struggle economically during this pandemic, our Hiring Hoosiers commitment here at WRTV is committed to connecting you to jobs every single day. So let's get started with this job feed. The company known for its eye-catching car vending machines is Hiring Hoosiers. Carvana is hosting a 3-day job fair which begins today. Now it's looking to fill a variety of positions at the company's Greenfield Vehicle Inspection Center. You can learn more and participate in an interview at the center on F.W. Marks Drive from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's today, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can find full details about the event on hiringhoosiers.com. Indy Hanger and Supply is also looking to hire Hoosiers. They want people who can work well on a team and who can pack wire hangers into boxes. Now the pay there starts at $10.50 an hour, plus incentives are included. Petco on 96th Street in Fishers has many open positions. And they need a pet stylist, a companion animal leader, a grooming salon leader, among other jobs that are available. You can find even more employment opportunities right now through the job board at hiringhoosiers.com and to the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page.
This morning, leaders in Central America are asking for help after Hurricane Iota slammed ashore. Nicaragua feeling the brunt of that storm as a Category 4 storm battered the nation with winds of 155 miles per hour. The landfall happened near an area still recovering from the effects of Hurricane Eta. Hurricane Iota is the 30th named storm this season. It's also the latest storm to ever reach a Category 5 status, beating the 1932 Cuba hurricane. Hurricane season ends on November 30th. Back here at home, Todd, things are much more calm, but what can we expect in the forecast?
You know, it's a very quiet weather pattern for us here going forward, not only today, Lauren, but really throughout the remainder of the week. We probably don't have any rain in our forecast or any precipitation for that matter, since we're getting towards the time of year when we'll talk about snow a little more often. But none of that in the forecast here, at least until late Saturday, and temperatures will be warm enough for all rain at that point. So it's just a sunny and dry stretch of weather. It is very cold tomorrow morning. We're looking at temperatures tomorrow as you wake up, probably in the mid-20s, but it's much warmer by the end of the week as we're really going to flip the script, going from about 10 degrees to 12 degrees below normal today to about 10 to 15 degrees above normal by the time we get to the end of the week. As far as this morning goes, we're still dealing with some pretty good winds out there, but they'll start to diminish as the day goes on. That is the good news. So it's still a little breezy at times throughout the day today, but the bigger issue is the wind direction. Because of the northwesterly winds, we're really just not going to warm much at all throughout the day today. In fact, temperatures normally, if we're starting in the mid to upper 30s like we are right now, when we had a typical day with calm winds and lots of sunshine, we'd easily climb up into the 50s. Just not going to be the case here throughout the day today. 36 currently in Greencastle as well as Greenfield, 34 in Tipton. When you factor in the wind, though, we do have wind chills that are in the 20s in many locations from Indy over to Greenfield. 27 is the wind chill value in Tipton and feels like 26 in Lafayette. The skies will start to brighten here pretty soon across the area as you look from IMS back towards downtown Indianapolis, as sunrise is a little after 7 o'clock now this time of year. But temperatures until sunrise going to kind of hover where they are, and then we'll slowly start to climb. But even by the noon hour, we're likely still going to be in the 30s across most locations with the clear skies. This morning is just a little more in the way of cloud cover here to the north. Really don't have to worry about that. Thankfully, we missed out on all this snow that's just to our north up in the Michigan area and off to the east in Ohio. Today, sunshine, temperatures again in the 30s and 40s depending on where you live. You can pick out kind of your hometown here. Rockville 45, 44 in Shelbyville. Just know it's going to feel a little cooler than that when you factor in the breeze. 47 today in Bedford, Columbus at 46. This evening, skies will be clear and it gets chilly really quick. In fact, we're down to freezing probably by about 8, 9 o'clock this evening, and then overnight tonight, this is what you wake up to tomorrow morning. A hard freeze across the area. There'll be a hard frost on your windshield if you leave your car outside. Plan ahead on that. 23 in Peru, 25 in Indianapolis. But the good news is tomorrow the winds will start to turn a little more southerly towards the end of the day. And that's going to get high temperatures up to right around 50 degrees with skies that'll be mostly sunny. Thursday, though, is the day we'll target here to really start to bring the warmth in at 65. The problem is Thursday, to get that warmth in here, we will have to deal with some pretty gusty winds across the area, so keep that in mind. But the warmth stays with us through the weekend, although the weekend a little more cloudy with those showers moving in. Lauren, late Saturday into the day on Sunday.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out the door this morning. This is I-65 near West Street and MLK as you're heading into downtown, maybe from the northwest sides. Things here are traveling up to speed. Do want to remind you about some ongoing construction we have at the exit ramp there at MLK, the north of this spot. This is the one up near 30th Street. We do have the off ramp still closed in this area. That's from southbound I-65 at MLK. That's closed until Friday, as well as the on ramp to northbound I-65 from MLK. So just keep that in mind as you travel through the area. It's not causing any delays this morning. Raphael?
So, Lauren, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in downtown Indianapolis. Always a beautiful sight this time of year. The toy soldiers, they are on duty, keeping watch on Monument Circle. As you can see, they're part of the festive decorations that include the Circle of Lights. As usual, the lights will shine starting the day after Thanksgiving. An annual effort that turns shoe boxes into gift boxes is now underway. Operation Christmas Child. It collects shoe boxes filled with presents for kids around the world. Donations are needed more than ever this year due to the pandemic. If you'd like to help fill a shoebox with school supplies, hygiene items, toys, and what's considered a wow item, like maybe a little stuffed animal.
You know, from a scarf to crayons, just having these items are just very precious. And we love when people get creative. And I have a lady and she made them. They're little girls' bags. You can put things in them. We have people who knit, who just use their God-given talents and are able to give back, and to have something that they've made with their hands is precious as well.
The shoebox collection, as you can imagine, changed to curbside drop-off this year because of the pandemic. Collection goes through Monday. For times and locations, download the WRTV app and click on this story.
Well, some of the best deals of the season are happening right now at retailers all across the country. Still ahead, we're working for you and breaking down where you'll find those best deals.
And good morning to Cumberland, Columbus, and Cloverdale, all great places to call home in central Indiana. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 6:25 on our Tuesday. Raphael, let's chat about what's trending at 6.
So, Lauren, firefighters from Norfolk and Portsmouth, Virginia, are raising their ladders for a 4-year-old boy, Nolan Turner. He's battling a rare form of lymphoma at a Norfolk hospital. Nolan's father has been on the Portsmouth force for more than 14 years. Firefighters from both departments lifted their ladders to the boy's 5th-floor room to hold up messages of hope from up high and down on the street below. Firefighters even brought Captain America. Hey, you can't beat that. When you include some first responders, what an amazing combination. This is one way of lifting the boy's spirits. What a great way, of course, to do that. Wow.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Raphael, this is a pet that is a long-time commitment. Meet Jaguar the tortoise. The Jansens found the Jaguar in a small Belgian forest about 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Since then, he's been sharing the family yard with generations of pets. One summer, the Jansen sons were playing soccer when the Jaguar jumped. These days, Jaguar likes to play soccer with the Jansen family dog, Marcel. The tortoise is probably older than the Jansen's kids, so that is too funny.
Yeah, and Lauren, I think I prefer something called the car, the Jaguar, as opposed to the turtle, the Jaguar. But
right. He's pretty good at soccer,
preference.
Though. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, we'll see. A group of Wisconsin high schoolers hoping to do their part in fighting COVID-19 by building a working ventilator. The group was led by student Callie Rack and armed with about $50 in supplies. The design won accolades in a national contest. This morning, the kids are hoping it could breathe new life into local COVID fighting efforts. And that has been the amazing thing. We've talked about this a lot, Lauren, just to see the creativity and the ingenuity of young people and just everyone in trying to find ways to help others during this COVID-19. That is amazing. Yeah, our Todd Clausen is amazing. Good morning, TK.
I wish I had an amazing forecast for you. And, it's going to be a bright day. It's just how you look at it. Some people like the sunshine and the cooler temperatures. More people probably like the warmth. And we have some of that coming your way as well as we get towards the end of the week. Temperatures right now are sitting in the 30s in all locations. You can pick your community there, and you can basically take about 5 to 10 degrees off those temperatures, though. And that's what it really feels like this morning. So you definitely need to bundle up. Skies will be completely sunny throughout the day today, and with that sunshine, highs only get back up into the low 40s. In fact, in places to the north like Delphi, Peru, even to Logansport, Monticello, you may not even make it back to that 40-degree mark, about 46 in Bloomington as well as Columbus. Today is the coolest high temperature we have for the entire week. As we get into the coming days, the 50s and 60s are set to return. We'll time that out for you, Lauren, coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, retailers are spreading Black Friday deals throughout the month of November. Working for you, our John Matarese is breaking down when you'll be able to get the best deals on electronics.
Walmart has just released their third and final Black Friday ad, and this is the one to check out if you're thinking of buying any electronics. No lines, no crowds, but also no thrill of a great find on Thanksgiving night. Walmart, like most retailers, will be closed Thursday due to the pandemic. Instead, it'll kick off its biggest Black Friday sale Wednesday evening, the night before, at 7 p.m. online. BlackFriday.com says you'll want to be at your laptop to nab the best electronics deals of the year.
All the TV deals in this round are online only. The gaming consoles as well, those are online only.
Walmart's hottest deals would include a Vizio 70-inch 4K TV, just $478, the lowest price ever on that size. Apple AirPods Pro for $269, that's $80 off. Apple Watch 3 for $119, $60 off. And the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox X for $499. Great prices, and you don't have to fight the crowds. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday morning, this is your 6:30 news feed. Funeral services have been announced for an Indianapolis firefighter who died last week. Matthew Bennett died after complaining of chest pains while responding to a call. Visitation will be this Sunday, while a private funeral will be held Monday at Crown Hill Cemetery.
State lawmakers gather for Organization Day at the State House just a few hours from now. It's the ceremonial kickoff to the next legislative session. No bills are usually voted on, but some lawmakers are asking for more to be done to ensure their safety during the pandemic. The main portion of the legislative session begins in January.
Risky behavior behind the wheel is up during the pandemic. The Governor's Highway Safety Association says more people are speeding and driving impaired. Some states are using speed cameras to help officers catch those driving too fast. Others are receiving grants to help boost the use of rideshare services, especially during the upcoming holiday season.
It is 6:30. Thanks for joining our team here on Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday. Raphael, I hope you're staying nice and toasty warm inside of your living room this morning.
Always nice to be toasty and warm inside the official WRTV living room, but Todd Clausen, I did open the door slightly. It's okay. I mean, it's November, right?
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
You know, you kind of expect it this time of year when you walk out the door, so I don't think it's going to shock anybody here this morning with temperatures in the 30s. Now, tomorrow is a different story. Tomorrow we're going to be in the 20s, so it's going to be really, really cold. Right now, though, we sit in the 30s in all locations. In fact, Bloomington only just a degree below the 40-degree mark, 39 degrees, 35 in Lafayette as well as Indy. You do notice the wind direction and the wind speed here at the bottom of each location here. Winds anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour, but it's that northwesterly wind direction that is going to be the issue here throughout the entire day today. Wind chill values, these are your real feel temperatures, and you see quite a few 20s out there. 25 in Columbus, 26 is what it feels like in Indy, 26 in Lafayette as well. Some of these other reporting stations, they don't really kick in the wind chill values till a certain time in the morning. That's why you're not seeing much of a difference in the wind chill in Bloomington, even though there most likely is. As far as the skies go, there's a little bit of cloud cover to the north, and they've had some rain and snow showers this morning in Fort Wayne, but all those will be sliding off to our east. To our west, the skies are clear, and that's the nice quiet weather that we'll enjoy in the coming days. So today it's sunny from start to finish. There's just not a whole lot of warming that will take place. Still only in the upper 30s by the noon hour. Should get up to 42, 43 degrees by 3 o'clock, and then by 5 p.m. we are down to 40 degrees. I mentioned tomorrow morning we get down into the 20s. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door on this Tuesday. Good morning to you in Carmel. This is US 31 along Rangeline Road. You can see traffic in that spot. It's traveling up to speed northbound and southbound. No delays to slow you down. And just be advised, I just got an alert right now from Beech Grove area. A residence fire near the corner of 4th and Alton Street. The drivers are being advised to avoid that area. Of course, we'll keep you updated if we learn anything else. Raphael?
Lauren, keep us posted on that there in Beech Grove. Hoops hysteria may take a new look in the Circle City. The city of Indianapolis is now under consideration to host the entire men's NCAA tournament. The association is in talks with the city and the state to potentially host the 68-team tournament in March and in April. NCAA officials say it's clear that it's not possible to safely manage the complex tournament as normal in several different states. The committee is focused on finding one place that limits travel and has enough venues, hotels, as well as other resources.
Given that the Final Four is scheduled to be in Indianapolis, where it's been on a regular basis, where the NCAA is headquartered, of course, and we've got really good working relationships and great support from the Hoosier State we think that may be our best option if we can work out all the important details around competition venues, practice sites, hotel arrangements, medical resources that are all very available here in Indianapolis. So that's our hope, but we still have a long way to go to finalize all that.
In a statement, the mayor of Indianapolis says officials are confident that the city can rise to the challenge thanks to the collaboration of civic organizations and the strength of the hospitality industry, and that they look forward to continued conversations with the NCAA. We'll bring you updates on the WRTV app as we learn more information on this situation.
At 6:34, for a change, fans of IU are not thinking about basketball just yet, and it's because IU's football team has its highest ranking since the last time the Hoosiers went to the Rose Bowl 53 years ago. IU is still unbeaten, and they're ranked number 9 in the AP poll this week. Now they're getting ready for something that also has happened since that 1967 season, and that's a matchup with another top 10 team. IU's traveling to number 3 Ohio State this Saturday.
One of the major things the guys wanted was to win our trophy games. And so that's what we did. We won our first trophy game, and haven't beaten them since I've been the head coach here. And you know the history. You haven't beaten them very often recently. So first time winning here in East Lansing in 19 years. So continue, got a whole long list of things they gave me of either first or tied this, tied that, first time since this, just continue to make history here.
Well, the last top 10 football matchup IU was a part of was the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. That was in 1968. The number 4 ranked Hoosiers lost to O.J. Simpson, and number 1 USC 14-3.
We've heard some good news this week about a potential COVID-19 vaccine, but will people take it once it's available? Which is really the big question. Coming up, the effort to inoculate the public against misinformation.
And while some businesses continue to struggle, others are finding success. Next, the story of one business and what they're doing to thrive despite this pandemic. It is 6:35 on your Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Indiana hospitals are now seeing the largest number of COVID-19 patients since they began reporting their numbers back, Lauren, in the spring.
Raphael, it's one of several signs that the pandemic is surging these fall months. The state health department says that more than 2,700 people with COVID-19 are being treated at hospitals in our state as of Sunday. They also confirmed 5,218 new positive cases of the virus. 26 more Hoosiers have died with this disease. A number of restaurants and other businesses have had to close permanently during this ongoing pandemic. It's been a real struggle, but one restaurant tells us it's thriving by bringing homemade food to a small town. Our own Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning. How this is also taking some patrons down memory lane. Kelsey, tell us where you're at this morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So we are at Tam's Cafe just off Oaklandon Road in Marion County, and they've been open here since August, so opening amid the pandemic. But as you can tell, this now cafe was once a home. So we spoke to Bonnie Reynolds, and she tells us she lived here nearly 50 years ago, and walking in brought back all of those memories.
This was our first home. This was probably summer of '65.
Bonnie Reynolds tells me her and her husband moved into this home in 1963 after getting married in the church across the street.
When I first walked in here to have lunch with my daughter on her birthday, I looked around and it just brought back all kinds of memories. So I asked the lady, I said, can I just walk around and look in every room? And then I explained to her that I had lived here 57 years ago.
We're in what was once Reynolds' spare bedroom, now a place for diners to enjoy homemade breakfast and lunch.
That I wanted to do something smaller and quaint, and just a place where people felt like they were going to their aunt's to have lunch.
Keeping the original layout of the home, including the kitchen.
We built our menu around that, knowing that it was going to be a very small space. So our menu is small, but it's bursting with lots of flavors.
Tammy Cunningham says hearing from customers like Bonnie reminds her why she chose to open her cafe in a small town.
We just love to see them come in and visit and tell us their story. How are you, sir? We're here to serve the community. We offer, a good customer service and great food. and we just want you to feel at home when you're here.
As for Reynolds, she says she's excited to bring her old friends back to visit the house she calls the old Grand Central Station of Oaklandon Road.
Just lots of good memories, lots of good memories. It's always fun to reminisce.
So here at Tam's Cafe, they waited to open amid this pandemic until things were opening back up. And now Cunningham tells me that they are prepared if there is another statewide shutdown. She says they've already implemented online ordering, and that's available right now. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much and best of luck to them. Pfizer is planning to test distribution of its COVID-19 vaccine in 4 states. Indiana is not included in that list. Now, Pfizer says its study shows the experimental vaccine is more than 90% effective, but distributing it could be more challenging. The vaccine must be stored at a temperature lower than what standard freezers can do. It also requires you get 2 shots 3 weeks apart to be effective. Now, if the vaccine is approved by the Federal Drug Administration, Pfizer will make 100 million doses of it for the federal government. The vaccine is supposed to be free for everyone once it becomes available.
At 6:42, it will still be months before a COVID vaccine is widely available to the public, and some doctors are worried about what they call vaccine hesitancy. It's where people have a problem with the idea of a new vaccine. Some see measures to reduce the effects of COVID-19 as political. Others may be skeptical about the safety of the vaccine. So we spoke to a professor at IUPUI who specializes in health and medical communication.
And I think it's incredibly important that people spend time educating themselves about this virus, about how it works, about how we prevent spreading it, and that they make sure that they are relying on credible sources. So our local news, the CDC, the Indiana Immunization Coalition will be an important place for people to find out information about the vaccine when it becomes available. The Indiana State Department of Health. So all of these really credible sources are important for us to spend time with and learn about this information so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves.
Well, Dr. Head says that the effort behind the vaccination is to reach herd immunity. That's when enough people have built up antibodies to a virus, and so it's not as spreadable in the population. Right now, there is a shortage of a different medical resource that's really helping in the fight against COVID. Convalescent plasma donated by someone who has recovered from the virus can be used to treat patients who are currently being treated for COVID-19. Varsity Blood Center Indiana says it needs plasma donations. A doctor at the blood center says as more people are being treated in hospitals, he's worried they soon won't be able to provide this life-saving treatment to those who may need it.
Something that we can only get from people who've had the infection. We can't create this in a laboratory. We can't get it in from a pharmaceutical company.
Well, if you've recovered from COVID-19, you can find out how you can donate convalescent plasma at our website. Just go to WRTV.com.
So it's time to get on the bus, but this bus is not taking us to school. Next, how this has been repurposed for an important mission to help those who need a hand up.
Big family gatherings may be out this Thanksgiving. Next, we'll show you how you can make some adjustments to protect our health and how you can talk to children about why spending time with grandma may not be happening this holiday season. Todd?
And Lauren, it's cool out there this morning with temperatures in the 30s, but tomorrow morning you're waking to temperatures in the 20s. But here's the good news. That is the coldest air we are going to see the next 7 to 10 days. That will move out, and the mild air is set to return by the end of the week. We'll let you know how warm it's going to get here across central Indiana coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
It's all about working together. The Indianapolis community is continuing to find new ways to help their neighbors during this pandemic. So check this out. This is a 40-foot retired school bus now loaded with food. Pastor Tyrese Bowman is part of the team of people who during the pandemic saw their community struggling to get food and groceries. Right now, the buses serve as rolling food pantries, driving into the near northwest side of Indianapolis and Riverside neighborhoods, dropping off food, all for free.
The brainstorm with a few of our board members said, hey, what happens when, COVID surges and shuts down and there's no access to food and kids are stuck at home and our residents and seniors unable to get out?
So after a soft launch last week, the pastor says the plan is to eventually hire a full team of staff to operate both buses. What a great idea right here in Indianapolis. Wow.
Yeah. Well, Raphael, holiday gatherings are going to look a lot smaller this year for many families, and so some parents may find it difficult to explain that to their kids. Mental health experts at Children's Hospital in Colorado say that parents should be direct about the importance of keeping their loved ones safe and healthy. Encouraging kids to share their ideas for family gatherings could help them accept the changes. Also, make sure that children realize that a smaller gathering does not mean there's nothing worth celebrating. Doctors say it's important to empathize with children and also to remind them that these changes won't be forever. Let's talk about what's going on outside right now. Todd, a beautiful sunrise right now over the Circle City.
Yeah, you know, these sunrises have been absolutely beautiful the past week or so, and that's for several reasons. I had some people ask me about that. Well, the air is colder, so there's not as much moisture or humidity they have to cut through, and the sun angle's a little bit different now this time of year as we're getting closer to the winter solstice. But yeah, a beautiful shot this morning as you look towards downtown. 35 degrees is the current temperature. Feels like 26 though in Indy, and that's because of this wind that's out of the northwest at 15 miles per hour. And your actual temperatures are in the 30s anywhere you go. 35 in Greencastle this morning, 39 in Muncie, 35 as you make your way into the Richmond area, and 39 in Bloomington. But this is what it really feels like as you get going and starting the new day. 26 in Lafayette as well as Indy. 30 is what it feels like in Muncie. 27 is the real feel temperature over in the Richmond area. And these wind speeds range anywhere from about 5 to 15 miles per hour on average. Could be a couple higher gusts in there, but because the winds are out of the northwest, that is the biggest issue. So even though our wind speeds will start to decline as the day goes on, because we are dealing with that northwesterly wind, watch what happens to the temperature, or watch what really doesn't happen to the temperature, I guess is a better way to put it. We only go up to 37 degrees by the 11 a.m. hour, only 39 degrees by the noon hour, with high temperatures today that'll be topping off in the low 40s. Normally we start in the mid 30s and we have calm winds and lots of sunshine. We're easily into the 50s. Just not going to be the case here throughout the day today, so make sure you bundle up a little bit. Some rain and snow showers up near Fort Wayne. If you're traveling up I-69 here this morning, just be aware of that. They should not make it here into central Indiana as they're sliding basically off to our east into Ohio. And then this evening we will be clear, and that is going to be a problem because as the winds calm with the clear skies, temperatures are going to cool off very, very quickly back down into the low 30s. In fact, by 8 p.m., we're down to near freezing. And then here is the real cold air that's in place tomorrow morning. We're down to 25 in Indy, 23 in Peru. Wind chills tomorrow morning likely going to be in the teens across the area. So kind of think ahead as you start to prepare the kids for school tomorrow that they're going to need the hat and gloves if they have to head out the house and to the bus stop. But the good news is once we get past tomorrow morning, we start to change the page a little bit. We get up to about 44 tomorrow by the noon hour. Then highs tomorrow will be right around 50 degrees. And as we extend the forecast out beyond Wednesday, Thursday we're up to 65, but it's going to be a really, really windy day once again. Probably not wind advisory criteria like we saw on Sunday, but there could be some 30-mile-per-hour winds. Friday, partly sunny, 62 degrees. Looking ahead to the weekend, we'll keep the temperatures in the 60s for Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday, definitely more in the way of clouds around. Then Sunday, we bring some rain showers into the forecast.
All right, Todd, we do have breaking news right now. Our photographer, Shay Goodpaster, at the scene of that residence fire we mentioned in the Beech Grove area. This is near the corner of South 4th Avenue and Alton Street. Again, in Beech Grove, drivers are being advised to avoid this area. You can see a number of fire crews on the scene, and they're outside standing, and that's because they've enrolled this a defensive fire and that they were all called out for safety reasons. So you can see a ton of smoke there from that home, and I can't exactly tell if any other houses in that area are impacted. Shay here is zooming in for us, and you can just see a lot of smoke billowing from that house in Beech Grove. Once we get more information from crews at the scene, we'll of course keep you updated. You can still see they're putting some water on that fire from the outside, so we'll continue to keep you updated. Again, if you see these flames or smoke, avoid that area because you can see there are hoses stretched across the roads at this hour. Raphael.
So, Lauren, I'm also following you on Twitter to get the very latest information as it comes in. Thank you for that. It's day 2 of an exclusive interview with legendary actor Michael J. Fox. Coming up on Good Morning America here on WRTV, the two health crises that caused the self-proclaimed optimist to question his outlook on life. That story and more coming up right here on WRTV.
And COVID-19 continues to be a major problem for our local schools here in the state. New numbers. Plus, today's top stories are coming up next. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Welcome back. It is 6:56 here on your Tuesday on Good Morning Indiana. Our own Todd Clausen has a look at what will be a chilly day, and that's coming up right after our top stories, Raphael, this Tuesday morning.
And Lauren, as COVID-19 cases remain high in our state, one county says it plans to rent 4 refrigerated semi-trailers to store bodies of deceased patients. Officials in Vigo County say some funeral homes in the area are already becoming, quote, overrun with bodies, and that they do not have enough places to put them. They also say that hospitals and hospital staff have become overwhelmed.
Well, the state health department also updating their report on the number of school cases. More than 8,200 students and more than 3,600 teachers and staff have tested positive for the virus since the pandemic began. As state lawmakers gather for Organization Day today, the Indiana State Teachers Association is calling on the legislature to provide more pandemic support for educators. A story we will continue to follow as the session begins in January. But we don't want to talk about January right now. We don't want to get that cold. Todd, what can we expect today?
You know, today is going to be a bright day for us. A little on the cool side, 42 degrees, but lots of sunshine. 50 on Wednesday, then warmer temperatures for the end of the week. The next chance of rain doesn't arrive in the forecast until Sunday, so just be patient for the warmer air to work its way in. Good Morning America is next. We'll see you here. And good